The millionaire investors have a secret formula that they use to get richer and richer, while most everyone else gets poorer and poorer. They fall behind. But the big difference between you and the millionaire investors isn't the game that we're all playing, is that they use different strategies. They use different rules, and they understand the cheat codes. But if you took the time to invest into your own education, you can also learn the secrets and the cheat codes that the rich use. And today, I'm going to share with you the most powerful one. So stay tuned. All right, welcome back. Mark here. Today, I am going to share with you one of the biggest secret strategies to growing wealth faster and safer than you could ever imagine. It's the cheat code that the rich use, and you can use it too if you take the time to invest into your own financial education, like you're doing right now, right? You're watching the video on YouTube, you listen to podcasts, hopefully you're subscribing to financial research newsletters where I personally got most of my education from, hiring financial strategists, tax planners, asset protection experts, things like that. And you can also learn the secrets and the cheat codes that the rich use. And of course, the rich get richer because they keep applying these same rules and techniques over and over across time, across months, years, decades. And over time, it makes a giant difference. And today, I'm going to share with you one of the highest level plans. It's a legitimate cheat code that's used by the most wealthy. And I learned it about a decade ago. About a decade ago, I hired a wealth strategy company. Basically, all they do is develop strategy for you. They don't do your taxes. They're not attorneys, but they develop strategy. I paid them about $30,000, and they helped me structure and organize my businesses, my incomes, my investments, all these things in order to reach my goals really fast. And what I'm about to share with you is one of the best pieces of advice that I got from them way back then. And it's changed my life, and it's one of the very best pieces of advice that I can give to you. Now, to understand how this works, you have to understand a concept called velocity. All right, you might have heard this term before, velocity. It's often referred to as the velocity of money. Now, economists use this term to basically they're trying to gauge how fast money is moving through the economy. The faster that money is moving through the economy, the larger and faster the economy grows. So to help with today's video, I'm going to use my new handy dandy digital whiteboard. All right. And I'm going to show you what I'm talking about with a whiteboard so I can make this a little bit better. So to understand this, you have to understand what I'm talking about with velocity. It looks like this. All right. Velocity equals GDP, that's gross domestic product, divided by the money supply. That's what the formula looks like when we're discussing velocity of money. Now, a good example of this would be, let's say that you stop by the mechanic, all right? So you stop by the auto repair shop, and my drawing's very crude, and you want to get your tire fixed. So you have your car, all right, and you want to get your tire fixed, and you give them $20, all right? Now, the mechanic and his helper takes that $20, and they go out to the taco cart, and they get themselves lunch, and they give the $20 to the taco cart. Now, the guy with the taco cart takes that $20 that he got, and he takes it down to the vendor, and he pays for some food. He pays $10 for food, and he pays another $10 that he pays for gas in his car, all right? Gas in his car. So now we have this one $20 transaction that you've done has now paid for this job, paid for one job, two jobs, three jobs, four jobs. And so that $20 has now created $40, $50 of gross domestic product, or GDP. That's money that's moving through the economy. Does that make sense? So it was only one $20 bill. But that $20 bill has now gone to pay for the tires. It went to pay for the tacos. It went to go pay for the food, for the supplies, and it went to go pay for the gas. So that $1 did a bunch of different jobs. And that's how we explain velocity. But today, I want to explain to you a new way to look at the velocity of money. All right, this is a way that you can use the same concept, but to build your wealth faster and actually way safer than you've ever imagined. Because using this, you're going to be basically like the banks. The banks create money from nothing. They do that using debt, and I'm going to show you how to basically do the same thing. So velocity for ourselves, it sort of works out the same way. And let me show you what I'm talking about. So again, if we go back to the same example, velocity equals, instead of GDP, it's now our investments, and it's divided by our money supply. Okay, so that's how this works. So what we want to do is we want to get our money moving through investments as many times as we can and as fast as we can, just like that example where the $20 went to multiple jobs. All right, and so we want our same $20, our same investments to go through multiple jobs. All right, now I'm going to give you a couple different examples, a couple different ways this can work with different assets. Okay, now real fast, the average person is probably doing this 0 times. So average, this person has velocity of 0. Maybe someone who's getting rich might do this and have a velocity of say 1 to 3. And someone who's wealthy would have a velocity of 3 or more. That means that the average person has their dollars doing 0 jobs. Remember, our dollars are supposed to be working harder than us. A rich person might have their dollars doing 1 to 3 jobs, and a wealthy person might have their dollars doing 3+ jobs. So let me give you an example. So if I was looking at the average person doing $0, so you're working, you're getting paid money. That money goes into a bank, and it sits there. That's 0 jobs. So your money's coming in, it's going into the bank, and okay, so maybe it's going to pay bills. You're spending your money, but it's not doing any jobs. That's 0 jobs. That's what the average person is doing. So what we want to do is get our money doing jobs. Another example would be, let's say maybe you have your money in the bank. Okay, great. You also put money into your lovely car that I can't draw. Maybe you put your money into your house that you own. Okay, this is your residence. So your money could be going into the bank. Your money could be going into a car. Your money could be going into your house and other things that you're buying, but it's not doing any jobs. It's just sitting there doing nothing. What we want to do, back to the example of the tire store, is get that same dollars moving through the economy, and we want to get it moving through. So an example, another way that we could do this is instead of taking our dollars and putting them into a vehicle, a car, right? And what happens is, let's say that I have $50,000, okay, and I can pay cash for a car. So I've taken the $50,000 and I put cash for the car. Now, what's happening with that $50,000? It's sitting in one place, and that car is losing value over time. So let's say within 3 to 5 years, the car is now only worth $25,000. That went down, right? So my money is not working. As a matter of fact, it's losing value. So how could we use the velocity of money to do something different? So let's say, for example, this $50,000 car, let's say that I take this $50,000 car and it has a payment of $500. So I could take this $50,000 and put it down as a deposit on a $250,000 house. All right. And so now my $50,000 is the down payment on a $250,000 house. Now the $50,000 is controlling $250,000 worth of assets. And let's say that I rent this house out. So I have to deduct for my loan, and I have to deduct for expenses, and I have to deduct for maintenance and all these things. But at the end, let's say that I'm left over with $500. Okay. Well, now I can take this $500 a month and I can buy my car. So now my $50,000, instead of sitting in a car like this, that's losing money, and now my $50,000 becomes $25,000. Now my $50,000 is sitting in a house that's hopefully going up in value, and maybe the house is worth $300 and eventually worth $350. And the cash flow that's coming off is now paying for my car. So now the $50,000 is growing, hopefully, and it's paying the car. So now the money is doing 2 jobs. See that? In this example, the money was just sitting in a car doing 1 job. In this example, the money is doing 2 jobs. 1 here at the house and 2 here at the car. All right. But let me give you some more examples of how we can really get this velocity moving now that you're kind of getting the example. We'll work with a little bit different amounts. Let's say we're going to buy houses in the Midwest that are only $50,000 homes. And so for a $50,000 home, a down payment is going to be $10,000. Okay. So let's say that I have $10,000, and that goes into a house. All right. So kind of the same example that we gave before. I have the money, the 10,000 doing one job. All right. Now what happens again is after I have all my expenses, my loan obligations, and everything else, let's say that afterwards I'm left over with $300. Okay. And then what happens is it was $10,000 to get that. So if I put this $3,000 in the bank times 36 months, I have roughly $10,000. I have 100% of my money back. Okay. Now what I can do is I can take that and put it into another house. And the same thing, I have all my expenses, all my bills. At the end of the day, I'm left over $300. But now I have 300 plus 300. So now it doesn't take 36 months anymore. Now it only takes 18 months. And I have another 10,000. And now that 10,000 goes to another house. And again, I have all my bills. At the end, I'm left over $300. And now I have $900 a month going in. So now it only takes me 9 months. I have another 10K, which then goes into, you guessed it, another house. And now my $10,000, my original $10,000 is now doing one job, 2 jobs, 3 jobs, 4 jobs. The same $10,000. Better yet, I have no money invested into this house. I've gotten all my original investment money out. So if all my investment money is out of the house, what's my return? It's infinite. It's an infinite return. Now, what about here? Well, all my money's out of this house. So I have 2 houses, infinite return. What about this house? All my money's out of that house. That's an infinite return. Now, this is 36. That's 3 years, 4.5, call it 5 years. Call it within 5-6 years. You have now 3 houses owned free and clear, paid cash from an original $10,000 investment. So just like the velocity of money, how many times can the original $20 move through the economy? And here, how many times can the $10,000 move through your investments? So I got this to move through, let's say, in 6 years. Well, can I get it to move through in 5 years, in 4 years, etc.? So that's kind of the plan. Now, let me give you another example that's not based on real estate. Maybe this doesn't work for you in real estate. So let's look at another example. So let's say that you're a Bitcoiner like I am. And let's say that you have a lot of Bitcoin. All right. Let's say that you have $10,000. Well, let's like in our previous example. So to use our previous example, let's say that you have $25,000 in Bitcoin. As Raoul Pal says, you are irrationally long. So you have $25,000. Well, that money is sitting there and it's in Bitcoin. So that money is doing one job. It's in Bitcoin and it's doing its job. It's doing one job. So we'll call this one job. But I want to hold this because I believe that Bitcoin could be worth $50,000. I believe that Bitcoin could be worth $100,000. So I don't want to sell it, but it's only doing one job. I want it to do more. So what could I do? Well, I could take this $25,000 of Bitcoin and move them into a platform like BlockFi, for example. Now, I've given this example several times before, and I've talked generically. Today, I'm talking about BlockFi because they are nice enough to sponsor this video. So what we do is we give $25,000 to BlockFi, and they give us back $10,000 as a loan against our $25,000. Now I have this $10,000 to do anything I want with. I'm paying a low, 3% interest rate on it, let's say. Now I take this $25,000 and I put that into a house. So that's my down payment on a $50,000 house that I bought in Indianapolis or Detroit or Kansas City or wherever I happen to be. All right, so now my $25,000 is doing one job sitting in Bitcoin. I borrowed the money back and I put it here. So now it's doing 2 jobs. All right. And we could keep this going. And so now this, at the end of the day, I have $300 and then I add that up times 36 months and then it buys me another house. So now I have $25,000 here in Bitcoin. I put it at BlockFi. I borrow against it $10,000 and then I use that $10,000 to buy a house and I repeat the process over and over and over. All right, that's another way to do it. But wait a minute, Mark, you said without real estate. You just said real estate. Okay, you're right. So how about I have $25,000 in Bitcoin. that I park at BlockFi. And then that 25,000, I take out 10,000. And with that 10,000, I decide to buy a new truck because I really like trucks. And I use this truck for deliveries for my business. And now I can hire one new person to drive. And now this truck, this 10,000 I borrowed on the truck, but now because of the new increased delivery capacity I have, it's making me say 2 to 3K per month. So I'm still doing more jobs than having the money sitting there. All right. Now, let's say that I use it to buy supplies. Let's say that if I buy supplies in bulk, I can save money. So you can see there's a bunch of different ways using businesses, using real estate, leveraging your cryptocurrency that you can get the money and you can get it to do multiple jobs. Now, a couple of things of caution that I'm always hearing is one, on a house, yes, this works. I've been doing it for a long time. Now, when on a house, you're going to put a down payment, probably 20% down payment. You're going to have expenses. You're going to have to pay the mortgage. You're going to have to pay the taxes. You're going to have to pay a property manager. At least I recommend that. You're going to have to pay for maintenance. At the end of that, you're going to have an amount of money left over. Okay? That's the goal. The goal is to, after expenses, have left over money. That's how it works. So that's one of the comments I hear frequently. What about all the expenses? The other thing that I hear is, yes, you're using debt to do this, but this is good debt. All right. Now, there is potential problems using debt. Debt is leverage. Leverage works both ways. It's like fire. It can warm you up, can cook your food, or it can burn your whole house down. So you do have to be careful of this. So if you were to use this and you were to keep buying houses, if let's say, for example, something happened to one and it messed up the cash flow, well, it could domino. Well, now I don't have enough cash flow for this. Now what about this one? I don't have enough cash flow for this. Let's say all the tenants stop making their payments at the same time. Do you have enough cash to carry that? Right? So you need to understand the risks, and this is not a video to talk about real estate investing specifically. If you want to know, leave me a comment down below. We can dig into that. The point of this video is to show you how, just like the economy measures money moving in and out of the economy, we also can grow our investments by using the same $1 going through multiple 1, 2, 3, 4 investments. That is how the rich do it. They put their money in, they pull their money back out. They keep the asset with no money in, which means they have infinite return. They put the money into the next asset. They pull the money back out of the asset. They have no money in, they have infinite return. They put their next money in, and they used it with other people's money, which is debt, and they do this almost risk-free because they don't have any money anymore. They've gotten their money back. It's like I went to Vegas, I put 20 bucks down on black, I hit, so I got paid 20 bucks back. I put the 20 back in my pocket, and now I'm playing with $20 of the casino's money. Whatever I make from there is infinite return because my money is in my pocket. And we can do the exact same thing. So that's how that works. Now, like I said, this video is sponsored by BlockFi. If you want to figure out a way to play this, you can park any of your crypto assets over there. They can pay you interest on it, as well as you can borrow against it as well. So you can unlock the money to use in investments like I'm talking about, or you can put it there just to make, I think, about 8.65% return. Now, I have a link down below. They've offered to pay me, I think, $275 for every single person that I signed up. However, I didn't want to take it. I want to give it back to you. So if you use the link down below, you're going to get $275 just for opening up an account with BlockFi. Again, use the link down below. Hopefully you enjoy that. They sponsored the video and then they're giving money to you. So it's a win-win situation. Hopefully you like that. Hopefully you like this, what I call the velocity of money. It's been a life changer for me. I've been playing this game for a really long time, and hopefully it works for you. Leave me a comment down below. Let me know what you think. And that's all I got for you today. To your success. I'm out.